Hi, K-pop lovers. Welcome back to our channel. What if I told you that one of the most talented vocalists in K-pop right now was once called a screamer, criticized for overperforming, and dragged through endless hate trains? This is the story of AHYEON from babymonster, and trust me, you need to hear this until the very end because what happens in late 2025 will absolutely shock you. But before we get into this incredible journey, if you're a fan of babymonster or just love stories about underdogs who prove everyone wrong, smash that like button right now, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss content like this. Seriously, this story has more plot twists than a K-drama, and I promise you'll want to stick around for the ending. Now let's dive in. Let's rewind to early 2023. AHYEON was a trainee preparing to debut with YG Entertainment's new girl group babymonster, and during the survival show Last Evaluation, she delivered a performance of Charlie Puth's Dangerously that literally went viral. Young Hyun-suk himself praised her as the member with the highest vocal range among the 7 members, and even Blackpink's Jennie complimented her talent during practice sessions. The girl was unstoppable, a rising star with everything going for her. But here's where things get messy. In May 2023, before the group even officially debuted, a video surfaced from AHYEON's performance at Hanlim Arts High School where she was singing Nicki Minaj's "Feeling Myself" and used a racial slur that's in the original lyrics. The backlash was immediate and brutal. International fans were furious, and comparisons were drawn to former YG trainee Julie Han, who reportedly left the company for a similar issue. The controversy overshadowed everything she'd accomplished. Then in November 2023, just before babymonster was set to debut, YG Entertainment dropped a bombshell announcement stating AHYEON would not be debuting with the group due to health reasons. The timing was suspicious, and many suspected it was related to the controversy rather than actual health issues. Babymonster debuted as a 6-member group with Batter Up, and AHYEON was nowhere to be seen. But wait, because this story is far from over. On January 25, 2024, YG shocked everyone again by announcing that AHYEON would be rejoining babymonster for their first mini-album Babymon 7ER in April, with all previously released songs being re-recorded to feature her vocals. She was back, and the world was watching. You'd think this would be her triumphant return, right? Wrong. This is where the real battle began. When AHYEON finally debuted with the full group in April 2024, she came back with all the energy and passion that made her special in the first place. But instead of being celebrated, she became the target of a new type of criticism that honestly makes no sense when you think about it. People started accusing her of overperforming and overdancing. Yes, you heard that right. In K-pop, where idols are literally trained to give their all on stage, where legends like Blackpink and 2NE1 built their careers on powerful performances, AHYEON was being criticized for doing exactly that. As the center of babymonster and one of the main vocalists, she was performing with intensity and energy, but netizens claimed she was dancing too hard compared to the other members and that it made the group look unbalanced. The criticism got so intense that by July 2024, fans started noticing changes in AHYEON's stage presence. She appeared sad and disconnected during a radio appearance, her dancing became noticeably more subdued, and that bright smile that used to light up every stage was fading. The girl was literally being told to tone herself down, to be less of who she was, and you could see it affecting her mentally. And here's the part that should make you angry. Throughout all of this, AHYEON's vocals were constantly under fire too. Critics claimed she was screaming instead of singing, that YG was giving her too many high notes and damaging her voice, that her tone was harsh and uncomfortable to listen to. Every single performance became a battlefield in comment sections. The hate was relentless, and it seemed like no matter what she did, it wasn't enough for the haters. But remember what I said at the beginning about needing to stick around until the end? Because here's where everything changes. Throughout 2024 and into 2025, while dealing with all this criticism and hate, AHYEON didn't give up. She kept working, kept improving, kept pushing forward. And then came November 2024 with babymonster's comeback, Drip. This song featured what would become one of the most talked about moments in recent K-pop history, a 3-tier high note from AHYEON that reaches G-sharp 5. Now, for those who don't understand vocal technique, let me break this down for you. This is chest voice territory that most K-pop idols don't even attempt. Even idols praised for their vocals rarely go this high in chest voice because it's incredibly difficult. AHYEON was hitting notes that only a handful of 4th and 5th generation idols can reach, including Mix's Lily and just a couple others. Vocal coaches started analyzing her performances and pointing out that what haters were calling screaming was actually proper belting technique for someone still developing their skills at just 18 years old. But the real turning point, the moment that vindicated everything, came at the 2025 Mama Awards on November 29th. babymonster's AHYEON, Farida, and Rora were chosen to perform Golden from the Netflix animated film K-pop Demon Hunters, a song so difficult that even professional singers struggle with it. This was AHYEON's chance to show the world what she was truly capable of, and she absolutely delivered. The trio performed completely live, raw vocals, no backing track to hide behind, in front of 50,000 people and millions watching worldwide. AHYEON hit those impossibly high notes, maintained control throughout the entire performance, and proved once and for all that she wasn't screaming, she was singing with power and technique. Now, did the haters finally shut up? Of course not. The criticism continued, with people still claiming the high notes were painful to listen to and that she was pushing her voice too hard. But here's what happened next that should give you chills. Ray Ami, the original singer of Golden, who provides the vocals for the character Zoe in K-pop Demon Hunters, saw what was happening to AHYEON and decided enough was enough. On November 30, 2025, she posted a message on social media that, while not mentioning babymonster by name, was clearly directed at the hate AHYEON was receiving. She wrote about how putting down other artists to uplift your favorites is exhausting and regressive, how being in the public eye is terrifying, and essentially told people to keep it positive or shut up. The original singer of the song was defending AHYEON against the haters. That's when you know the criticism has gone too far. Fans around the world rallied behind AHYEON, pointing out the double standard where female idols who sing live get criticized while male idols rarely face the same scrutiny. Vocal coaches continued to post analyses showing that AHYEON's technique, while still developing, was actually quite impressive for her age and experience. And something beautiful started happening. More and more people began recognizing what had been there all along, AHYEON's genuine talent, her dedication, her resilience in the face of unrelenting hate. By late 2025 and into early 2026, the narrative around AHYEON began shifting dramatically. Performances from babymonster's first world tour, Hello Monsters, showcased her continued vocal improvement. Videos comparing her vocals from debut to current performances went viral, with people amazed at how much cleaner and more controlled her technique had become. The girl who was told she was screaming had transformed into one of the most talked about vocalists of her generation, and she did it while weathering criticism that would have broken most people. Here's what makes AHYEON's story so powerful and why I needed you to hear it all the way through. This isn't just about vocals or technique or high notes. This is about a young woman who had every reason to give up. She faced a controversy before debut, was removed from her group, came back only to be told she was doing too much, was criticized constantly for her voice, and had to watch as every single thing she did became ammunition for haters. But AHYEON didn't quit. She didn't let the hate train stop her. She kept singing, kept performing, kept improving. And now, at just 18 years old, she's performing at the highest level, hitting notes that most idols dream of reaching, earning respect from vocal professionals and original artists alike, and slowly but surely, changing the minds of people who once doubted her. When babymonster performs their new releases and AHYEON hits those high notes that once brought criticism, the reactions are different now. There's admiration, there's respect, there's recognition that what we're witnessing is someone who refused to be defined by hate and instead chose to let her talent speak for itself. The girl they called a screamer is now being called a vocal powerhouse. The member they said was overperforming is now being praised for her stage presence. The teenager who faced endless criticism is now standing as proof that hard work, resilience, and raw talent will always win in the end. So the next time you see someone tearing down a young artist, remember AHYEON's story. Remember that behind every performance is a human being dealing with pressure most of us can't imagine. Remember that growth takes time, and that the loudest critics are often proven wrong by those who simply refuse to give up. AHYEON proved them all wrong, not by responding to hate, but by becoming undeniable. And that's the most powerful response of all. If AHYEON's story inspired you as much as it inspired me, do me a huge favor and hit that like button to show your support for her incredible journey. Drop a comment down below telling me what you think about AHYEON's transformation and whether you've been supporting her from the beginning or just discovered her talent. Are you Team AHYEON? Let me know. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Subscribe now and turn on those notifications because we're covering more stories like this, celebrating the artists who refuse to give up and prove the haters wrong. Share this video with your friends who need to hear this story, especially if they're babymonster fans or anyone who's ever been doubted. Let's spread AHYEON's story far and wide because this is the kind of resilience and talent that deserves to be celebrated. Thank you so much for watching until the very end, you're amazing, and I'll see you in the next video. Keep supporting babymonster and remember, never let anyone dim your light. Peace out. AHYEON.